After Gojo, then Kashimo, then Higuruma, then Yuji and Yuta, then Maki, then Miguel, then Todo with Yuji, then once again Yuta, and then once again Yuji versus Sukuna. And after Nobara's comeback, the battle against Sukuna is finally over. With only 3 chapters remaining, we have reached the end of last battle, and hopefully there will probably be no twist in the remaining chapters. I mean, we can only hope that. By twist I mean merger or something like Sukuna or Kenjaku coming back to life. I think Yuji's domain expansion should have been better explained slowly, but was just too quick, and as for Nobara's comeback, I will say it was so-so. Once Gege has said that in ending, either all will die or only one will die. So from the main team, only Gojo died as Nobara came back. Though, if we look at it a bit differently, Kashimo died, Chozo died, and Higuruma died, so we can't say that only one died. I mean, come on. So, after I don't know how many chapters, but we finally get to see Hakari and Uraume. Although, even now we don't actually see their fight, but just the end of it with both standing with damaged clothes. Uraume says that Hakari and his side were lucky that they were born in this era. And if you think about it for a second, what she said is literally true, as he only lost because he was inhabiting someone else's body, due to which his cursed energy was tempered during the battle. With his cursed object finger being in existence, it also allowed Nobara to damage his soul directly, as well as for Yuji's attack to strike at Sukuna's soul. So in short, if the fight had taken place 1000 years ago, during Heian era, Yuji and others would have had no chance at winning after losing Gojo. Although, we don't know how the outcome would have been between Gojo and Sukuna with no 10 Shadows technique. And for Hakari, who is a gambler whose only purpose in his life is to gamble on his luck, him being called lucky by Uraume is basically a compliment for him. And after saying this, she disintegrates. As for Megumi's sudden fight back, I think it should have been better explained. Like him getting some flashback or the change being process by process. What I thought was interesting is that the question that Megumi asked Sukuna when he was talking about how useless and miserable Megumi's life is. And he should just hand over the complete control of his body to him. And then Megumi asks him why he is so desperate. Is it because to turn into a cursed object, it requires a specific way, and him here being beaten by Yuji will mean death? And furthermore, with Nobara's resonance, the last finger's connection to soul will also be lost. Thus, Sukuna will not be able to resurrect or come back alive how he came back after Yuji ate the finger. Thus, he said that he was relieved even Sukuna felt fear in his death. As for Yuji's words to Sukuna saying, "You are me," I don't know, but I felt a little underwhelmed by it, honestly. During his battle with Mahito, Mahito says that he will continue to kill humans just for the sake of it. And then at last, Yuji also admits that he will also continue killing curses, thus saying, "I am you." But in this case, I feel like there is little to no amount of build-up, and it could have been executed much better. So, can Sukuna reincarnate in the future? Because from what Jogo had previously said in chapter 116, curses can be reborn. Of course, it depends upon how much cursed energy is emitted from humans towards that specific fear or curse. Like in the case of Jogo, how much do humans fear fire-related natural disasters? And depending on the amount, he can be reborn slower or faster. So, in Sukuna's case, could it be Jujutsu or sorcery itself? Because of Kenjaku announcing the existence of cursed energy, could the normal people start to feel fear towards it, and thus at the end it could result in Sukuna being reborn? although it is a theory, but it could be interesting honestly. Now I have a question. Who the hell is even Sukuna? I mean, we needed to know more about him. Like, what exact species is he? A curse? A human? Or some sort of hybrid creature? Maybe like Chozo? I think Sukuna's death is probably more controversial than the death of Gojo. Reason is probably the true form of Sukuna which we saw in this chapter, which was pretty ugly. Maybe the backlash is because of it, but for sure, many fans are split between whether his death is peak or trash. When Yuji said that there were letters that Gojo left for Nobara and Megumi, we all knew that it would be about Toji being Megumi's father and all, but we didn't have a clue for Nobara. And then we see it was about Nobara's mother saying she is still alive and where she is and stuff like that. I mean, come on, do we really care about that? Even Nobara herself doesn't care about it. As for Megumi's reaction, well, it was certainly funny how Gojo wrote it. 100% of his personality was there. But I think we should have gotten a more expanding thought of Megumi about why did he kill his father and so on. Also, did Gojo leave behind few words for his other students as well? Probably, but I doubt we will ever get to know about it. Though it would be nice touch to the story if it gets mentioned in the coming chapters. Now, the most interesting thing in this chapter to me was the question of what happened to Yuta. Because the last time we saw him, he passed out due to his burnt out curse technique after he had used the domain expansion. So is he stuck in Gojo's body for his whole life? Or is he back in his own body but with some side effects like losing his curse technique? Or is it something entirely else, like maybe Rika passed away? I think Yuta can take over the role of Tengen because if you remember it correctly, he had set up the barrier across whole of Japan so that they could optimize cursed energy and prevent it from spreading largely to the world. But with Tengen dead, someone must take over his role to prevent cursed spirits from appearing in large quantity across the whole world. Overall, I would say it was a bit rushed chapter, but with only 3 chapters remaining, I don't think we can complain. Next week, we will finally get to know what happened to Yuta, hopefully, as well as how Sukuna died and of cursed energy's future.